Welcome, everyone. I'm Brooke Henderson. I work with our strategic channel partners here at Yext. It's very great to have you today. In 2012, Google introduced the Knowledge Graph, enabling them to understand user intent and provide more relevant answers to search queries. And we fast forward to 2025, the Knowledge Graph is now central to AI platforms like ChatGPT and Google Gemini, which rely on it to deliver accurate and timely responses. Today, we're going to explore the shifting landscape of search, demystify the Knowledge Graph, and discuss how you can help your small business customers understand its growing importance in this AI-driven era. To start us off, here's Trent Ruffolo. Trent, tell us a little bit about yourself and what we're going to really uncover today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brooke. Well, just a quick introduction. My name is Trent Ruffolo. I'm a senior product marketing manager here at Yext. I've been working at Yext and also in the local search space for a little over 8.5, almost 9 years now. And I'm really excited for us to be diving into this conversation just because I think we're all witnessing sort of a shift in how people are engaging and discovering brands today. And that's all being driven by these new AI-powered search experiences. And they're truly redefining how consumers are discovering and engaging with brands, where what we see is people are asking more longer, complex questions instead of doing what we're used to doing on Google and doing maybe a keyword search. We're also seeing how in order to retrieve information about brands, these AI platforms are actually pulling from a variety of different sources. And so what this means is, as a brand, if you're not managing your information on a much more broad and variety of different sites, you could risk not showing up at all. And of course, how these platforms are displaying information is vastly different than what we're used to today. So I'm super excited. I know, Brooke, we're going to talk in much more depth about these new experiences, what their significance and impact are, and just ultimately what you all can do to help set your clients up for success, as we are entering into this new wave of search.
And it is certainly changing at a rapid pace. Well, let's start at the top, Trent. How is AI changing the way people search for and discover businesses today?
Yeah, we're seeing that shake up pretty rapidly, just as we're interacting with these new search experiences, and that's because instead of typing in a keyword, something like that we're all used to doing on a daily basis, where we might go to Google and we would search for coffee shop near me. Well, now when someone goes and asks that type of question on an AI like a ChatGPT or Perplexity, they're doing that search a little bit differently. So instead of doing that coffee shop near me, they might ask that question a little bit differently. So for example, they could say, where's a quiet spot nearby with good lattes and has Wi-Fi? Because maybe I want to go work, use that as a workspace for that day. And so what the AI can do is it understands the intent of this question, also the context, as well as the time of day and where you're located. So it's able to deliver much more personalized, precise results. And so that means that this discovery from a brand perspective is happening in smarter and more dynamic ways. And so it's just creating a shift that businesses need to be ready for.
Absolutely. And I mean, if I'm going to put my consumer hat on, I want what I want when I want it, right? And having a conversation about, hey, I want a dentist near me that has appointments on Saturday and accepts Cigna, that's an everyday question that relates specifically and personally to me. So I definitely see that this is why these engines are so relatable and obviously very useful in that sense. Trent, there's been a lot of discussions that traditional SEO just isn't enough anymore. Tell us what's different about how platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini find businesses versus a Google search.
Yeah, well, you definitely said it just in the question alone, and just that these AI platforms, they don't find businesses the same way that a traditional search engine would. So there's a lot of different examples of that. I'm just going to hone in on one here, and so let's just take website content, so first party data as an example. So Google has and always, will, at least for the foreseeable future, will crawl and rank pages, and they'll do this based on traditional, more SEO keywordy signals. So how that's different from an AI platform is they will actually go and retrieve information from your website in a way that they can understand it and then generate an answer to consumers in a much more conversational like format. So, how they're retrieving information and displaying it is different. But when we're talking about first party data, there's a bit of a catch here. The way an AI platform reads and understands your website is way different from how someone like you or me would. So instead of browsing like that person, an AI is going to look for structured, more machine readable information that it can just easily extract, understand and interpret, and then summarize in an answer. So that's why creating, very well structured first party content is actually one of the biggest opportunities that brands have to help influence how they show up in AI generated search. And some of the different opportunities or strategies there that we see to be really successful are using things like schema markup, as well as different semantic HTML, structuring your site with that way and all the proper authority. This helps communicate not just the structure, but the meaning of your site to AI platforms. And it just makes it easier for them to understand your content. And of course, the whole goal behind that is to increase the chances that your business, or in this case, your client's businesses, that they appear in the relevant AI generated answers that they, of course, care about.
You really raised something that's thought-provoking, is that you don't just have to build human trust. You also have to build robotic trust, like AI engine trust. Like you now have to have a trust signal for both. Fascinating. Fascinating. So tell us, why is it that some businesses are showing up in these AI search results and others aren't?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's certainly a lot of signals of consistency that we're seeing. I would say that are pointing to why some businesses are showing up more so than others. And I think really what it comes down to is data quality and structure. The businesses that show up are the ones that have accurate, consistent, and just really well structured information, not just on Google or their website, but really across the web. And really what you want to be able to focus on is making sure that this data is in the formats that these AI systems can understand. Just to the point of your question, we want to be able to deliver information that not only people can understand, but also that these new AI systems can as well. So if your business data isn't really well structured, or if it's not presented in a way that these AI systems can understand, there's just very little chance that your client's business will show up. So when we think about visibility today, it's more than just about being online. It's about being understandable to these machines. One of the things that brands can do is using a knowledge graph to help structure their information. That is actually really key and something that we've seen to be really, really powerful to help these AI platforms recognize and surface your information in different relevant results.
So I want to really get into the knowledge graph. It's clear knowledge graph has been a term that's been used, since 2012. We formed our own knowledge graph because we were talking to these other knowledge graphs. But it may throw a lot of people off, this term knowledge graph. What exactly is it, Trent? Like in plain English?
Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll say that. But I think the most simple way that I can put it is it's a really smart way to structure the information about your brand or your client's business. And the whole idea is that machines can understand them. So what it does is it connects all of the information about your client's business. So everything from their name, where they're located, what their hours are, their phone number, but also other things that are important to what they offer, such as, what services do they provide, what products do they sell, and really just connecting all of this information into a web of related data points. So instead of, thinking of an AI seeing this information as separate bits, it's now able to understand how all of your customers' brands information fits together. Think of it as like a digital brain map of your client's business on the web.
So each piece of information isn't siloed to its own. It's kind of like, how do the entities relate to each other?
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you, for some of us that are just kind of understanding this concept, can you give us like a real world analogy? Like if I'm trying to explain this to my husband, who is a concrete polisher, he's an SMB guy, right? Like he owns a small business. How
Yeah.
can I make it click for him?
Yeah, well, we can give this a shot, but I think maybe an analogy that could be helpful is think about, a knowledge graph as like a very well organized filing cabinet. So you could think about when you go to open a filing cabinet, each drawer has its own category. So like your hours would be one category, maybe your staff is another category, or the products that your business sells is another. And each side or inside each of those drawers is, very well labeled and structured folders that is easy to find the information that you're looking for. So now imagine that you're the AI. You're trying to find an answer about, this business by opening up this filing cabinet. It's going to be a lot easier for you to find the information that you're looking for in a very well organized filing cabinet. Whereas if you were to go into a super messy filing cabinet, there were sticky notes everywhere, there was information buried in, all different types of places, the AI, or in this case, you as the person, would have no idea where to look. And it would be a lot harder to find and retrieve that information. So you can think of, like an AI platform as a person trying to retrieve information when they go and they're accessing a filing cabinet. So I don't know if that analogy helps, just the structure and the organization of information. So hopefully you can maybe try that out on your husband and let me know if that works or not.
I will absolutely, but it made sense to me. So hopefully it'll make sense for our partners to share a similar analogy like that. So tell me, Trent, what kind of information goes into a knowledge graph and why does that matter for AI visibility?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Really, the short answer is any information, any type of fact that you would not only want your customers to know, but also what you'd want these AI systems to know. So again, we talked about this briefly just a minute ago, but this includes everything from your name, your address, where you're located, what your phone number is, the hours, also different areas that you might service. If you have a restaurant, what your menu items are, everything that you can think of, you name it. And why this is so important is because these different AI tools, like a ChatGPT, in order to answer a complex question, they need to know as much information about your business as possible. So the more structured information that you can deliver to AI about your business, the more likely they're going to be to present your business name in a generative answer when people are asking relevant questions. So the more information, the better you can provide to these AI systems.
I just had a thought, actually. I always think real world, right? And I think of my son who is 18. And one of the things that he does when he searches is, does it have Apple Pay? So it sounds like it's not just a limited set of data, it's anything that could really help a business stand out or give a reason for my son, as an example, to walk in the door.
Yeah, it could be anything. It could be the payment methods. And I can even give my own example of how I've been interacting and searching a little bit differently because I'm recently a dog owner. And mine's definitely going through the doggy puppy phases at the moment. So as I'm like researching for different types of trainers to explore and, potentially go with, how I'm asking a question on ChatGPT of what types of trainers I'm looking for is very different than how I would do it on Google. I'm actually being much more specific in the types of things that I want the trainer to, correct in the behavior. So those are the things that I'm actually putting in my prompts and my questions. And so the more that a ChatGPT knows about the dog trainers and maybe that they can help with those specific behavioral things, I'm going to get different answers and obviously going to be more likely to go with the ones that ChatGPT presents to me. So, just to give you another example, it's payment methods, but it's all types of things for sure.
Absolutely. Now, is this something that SMBs traditionally already have, but haven't structured it properly, or is it something that they actually need to build from scratch? I know that's a question we get frequently.
Definitely, yeah. And the great news is that most businesses already have this information. They just haven't really structured it in a way that AI can understand. So, short answer, definitely don't have to start from scratch. And there's a lot of tools that are out there that can help you with this, so you don't have to be super technical to do it. But I know, Brooke, you can probably share the perspective of always talking to our partners out in the field. So I'm curious if you're able to share just kind of what you're hearing from them about how AI search specifically has impacted their clients. Are they prepared to have these conversations with them specifically on this topic?
It's a really great question. I think it's not dissimilar to, what we're hearing from like our big brand customers, right? There is a noticeable impact to search traffic, which is clear. I mean, there's a lot more places where, consumers can go to search, and there's a lot of generational places that, some of the younger demographics are going to. And I think, what their customers are asking is, how do I be prepared to, be front and center? And I think also the unknown of, what impact does that really play? Am I going to get less clicks? Do I need to be doing more content? They're obviously been in the game as long as we have. I think they do look to us for education and understanding, what trends we're seeing and where do we see search happening, because we're seeing it at the global level. But I think we have conversations, educational, like I'm asked frequently to go talk to their sales teams or go talk to their account managers teams and have question and answers, Q&A sessions with them to really give them the opportunity to understand what their customers are. And I think the biggest thing is there is a noticeable decline in search traffic today.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to hear that. I think we're hearing that consistently across the board, and just the ways that people are searching is definitely yielding those results, and why people are seeing that today for sure.
So let's get actionable. Like let's get down to the nitty gritty. What does a properly structured knowledge graph do for a small business, Trent?
Yeah, I mean, short answer again is that it can just help your client's business show up and be more discoverable. And not only that, you're being more discoverable by the right people, because again, these people are asking more high intent, more specific questions, which usually indicates a higher level of intent. Like, I'm not window shopping if I'm searching for a specific dog trainer that can help me, stop certain things, right? Like there's a much more higher level of intent there. So not only does it help your client's business be more discoverable, but it's becoming more discoverable in the right moment when people are really looking to make a purchase. So probably the best way to put it, when people, again, I can provide a lot more examples, but when people are searching for where can I book a haircut near me, who does same day appliance repair, it's not just about getting found, it's being chosen and making sure that your information is accurate, up to date, and of course, trusted by AI.
And that's something that our partners and their customers actually want to know is, how can I get booked and
Yep.
transact on the same day? So Trent, tell me, what are a few simple, like action oriented ways partners can introduce this concept and actually get them excited about it?
Yeah, well, I think maybe sort of the approach is to just simply ask your clients how they want to show up when someone is searching on ChatGPT for a service that they offer. And to maybe show them different examples of like, hey, here's how AI generates answers. And this is actually where certain businesses are showing up. And let me show you others that aren't. And let me explain to you why. And it really, positioning wise, it all comes down to how their business data is structured. It's actually great. One of the great things about ChatGPT and Perplexity and all these other AI platforms is they actually provide proof and cite the sources that they're using to present their answers. So you can literally point to, like, it's not just these 3 or 4 places. It's not just mainly Google. They're actually pulling from all of these different sources. And so you can really frame the knowledge graph as that foundation to power your brand's visibility across all of these different search experiences, and ensuring that AI has the most up-to-date and structured information about your brand. And of course, the whole idea there and the goal is to ensure that your client's business are the ones that are showing up and they're being presented in those relevant search results.
That is some great feedback. It's not just about structured in one place, it's structured in a number of places. So
Mhm.
what's at stake for our partners who don't start having this conversation with their clients like tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just there's opportunities that will be missed where if your clients are not showing up in AI powered search, they're going to be essentially invisible to this large and increasingly growing number of customers. And if you're not helping them solve that, there's a chance that someone else eventually will. And so really what we want to think here is that, provide a chance for partners to lead this conversation, be thought leaders, and add that strategic value in that relationship that you have with each of them, and really truly differentiate yourselves. And so AI search isn't just coming, we're seeing it here in a lot of ways. I think the adoption is going to continue to grow, and really the partners that lean in now will be the ones that their clients will rely on for the continuous evolutions of search and what that looks like.
Well, I can agree more. And also, if we can simplify it for them, which you've done a fantastic job of really helping us understand how these AI engines are ingesting data, it's almost as simple as saying, hey, we got your back when it comes to AI. We're going to make sure that you're found because we've educated them and we've given them the opportunity to say this. If you do these things, you should perform very, very well. Trent, thank you for letting me pick your brain in terms of the knowledge graph. But I have one more question for you.
Yep.
Looking ahead, where do you see AI search going in the next 6 to 12 months? And then follow up to that is how can our partners future proof their offerings to stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, both great questions. I'll probably start with the first one there. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes, not just over the next 6 to 12 months, but even beyond that. And I think some of the things and trends that we can look out for is one, we're going to continue to see these platforms get better. Like the experiences that we have today, when we ask a question, we get a pretty good answer back where we're like, oh, that was actually pretty good. Like if you've ever asked ChatGPT to summarize or synthesize something for you or ask for a recipe about something, like the answer you get back is pretty good, but we're only going to continue to see these platforms get better and better, which I think is only going to drive the adoption level from consumers even higher as well. So we're already seeing this shift happen where more and more percentages of people, using less of, traditional Google and exploring these other AI platforms. And I think what you're also going to see is that, right now when you're, getting an answer or you're exploring on a ChatGPT, there's not a whole lot that you can do to take action, but I think you're going to eventually see these AI platforms introduce ways to actually act or make a purchase or buy a product directly on these experiences. And I think when that happens, that'll kind of be the game-changing moment where you'll truly see adoption, shift away from traditional search to these AI platforms. I think even further down the road, you're going to see a world where, there's, bots of ourselves, like our phones, kind of, if we need to make a haircut appointment, I think we're going to have a bot that actually reaches out to a hairstylist's website and actually checks on what the available haircut appointments are and kind of have an interaction amongst themselves. And then I'll get like a tailored list of appointment bookings that I can choose from. So I think you're going to have this scenario where bots are almost interacting with bots in a world like that. But as far as what partners can do to help their customers prepare is, I think there's two big things if I could call just a couple of things out here. It's one is prioritizing delivering quality data to AI. And so having information that AI can understand and structuring it in a way that they can synthesize, generate an answer, that's going to be kind of one of the biggest strategy that you can implement. And then two is just focusing on that delivery of quality data, not just on, the traditional search methods like on Google or focusing on your website, but also expanding and managing your client's information on a broad variety of sources. So a mixture of third-party sites, social platforms, review platforms, and really the big reason behind that is because AI is pulling and leveraging data from all of these different sources. They're not just looking at Bing, they're not just looking at Google, and they're not just looking at your client's website. They're pulling information from all of these different platforms. So of course, if there's missing information or actually information that's wrong on those sites, there's a chance that it could get displayed incorrectly or, of course, not displayed at all. So I think those are probably the 3 or 4 things that I see maybe changing over the next 6 to 12 months, but also the things that you could be doing to set your clients up for success are all around data quality and structuring information in more places. That's probably the most simplest way I can boil it down.
Great answers. And I think you're absolutely right. Because wasn't it just last week or the week before, ChatGPT is introducing shopping through their experience? Perplexity is already doing it. CTAs are coming for sure. We have to make sure our partners are prepared for that. Well, Trent, it's been great. Thank you so much again for your time and really helping us to understand the knowledge graph and educating our partners on, just the little things, the simple fundamentals that they can be doing to help their customers, but more importantly, educating their customers. Thank you again so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope that you got a tremendous amount of information and actions that you can take back and start to apply. We look forward to seeing you on another webinar in the future.